Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, the founder of CPA Sales Solutions, known as the Revenue Generator. Please put your hands together for Jeff Brandeis.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for joining today. I'm sure all of you have seen or watched a video, but this one's going to be a little different than the others that you have watched or seen. There's two reasons why it's going to be different. One, because I'm doing it, and the reason why I'm doing it and my experience level is because I used to be on your side of the desk. Okay, I was in the CPA firm. I worked for a Big Four accounting firm. I worked for a mid-sized firm as well, and I even began to build my own tax practice. I understand what you go through every day. I understand your trials and tribulations. I left the CPA world and then joined a software environment. And I sold to CPAs because I had that credibility. I knew what you went through, and I was very successful doing it. I worked my way up the ranks, became VP of sales, and I still sold to CPA firms because it's my blood. It's the nature of what I do. The second reason why this is going to be different than what you've watched or seen before, this isn't a Sandler class. This isn't a Brian Tracy class that's reconfigured to CPAs. This is a session or a class that I created based upon my knowledge and working with CPAs for over 20 years. So what I'd like you to think about at the moment, you have a sales team, yourself. Are your sales going up? Not as fast as you want them to go? Are they decreasing? Are they flat? Or you're just afraid to look because you're just afraid to know what your financial condition's all about, okay? And what happens with sales teams, and sometimes even yourself if you're selling on your own, is you begin to look at an iceberg. You look at your prospect and you look at what's straight ahead of you. You don't ask certain questions. You walk out of your presentation thinking, I got this sale done. I'm going to get this new client in 2 weeks. And I'm confident. It's in my funnel. It's part of my process. And I'm moving on. What you don't get to see is really the full picture of what that iceberg or what that client is really thinking. He's thinking, or she's thinking, maybe I'll do something in September. Maybe I'll do something next year. Or you never ask the question is, are you looking at anybody else? Because there's another CPA firm coming in right behind you when you were done. So that 2 weeks now becomes an excuse of why it didn't come in the door. So what you've done in the past to help motivate sales teams so you can increase your sales is you probably have tried a club trip. You probably changed your CRM or customer relationship management program, thinking if I gave them something new, they'll actually document things in their CRM, and you'll get better funnel pictures. You'll know what's coming in the door and what's not coming in the door. You probably restructured your organization as well, and you can conceivably have hired someone for a half day worth of training, sales training. What the problem is when you do all that is the same reps basically make club trip. You haven't done anything for the middle people, the underperforming people. The CRM, honestly, they're not going to use because they have their own way of doing business. They're going to continue to do it. And you'll fight with them every day to get them to use the CRM. The restructure just continues to mask the problem. The training, it goes in one ear, one out the other ear because they like what they saw or heard. It didn't really do anything. The problem that you have is you haven't created a system. It's not a process. So basically, they're going to go back to doing the same thing what you ever always going to do. As I said, I used to have my own, when I moved from CPA practice into a sales world, I created my own sales process because I thought I was going to be really cool and I could do whatever I wanted to do. What I found was it was pretty bad. It was awkward. And quite honestly, it was very difficult to follow. At the end of the day, it was really, really bad. So I began to think about things, and I started talking to my manager, David, and he came up with Jeff, you're going to create a sales process, keep it simple. The old KISS theory, keep it simple. Stupid, right? So I began to think about things about what I should be doing during my sales process. And I wanted to create a great process. So that's exactly what I did. I created a great process. So when you think about great, it's gaining access, it's recognizing needs, it's executing the presentation, it's aligning with your prospect, and then the close. 5 simple things. The problem with some of this, you got to go a lot deeper into each one of these letters. There's certain steps you have to follow to be successful before you actually move in from the G to the R to the E to the A to the T. You skip a step, skip a letter, you will lose a sale. Trust me, I've tried it. And reps have learned. So if you got to follow the process, you got to follow the system to be successful. When it comes to sales, it's all about the hand, the head, and the heart. And what I mean by that, I've created what I call my guiding principles, and I put them into a 9 box. Some of you might be familiar with 9 boxes, but I'm going to only focus on 2 of these. So let's talk about the attack market share. So I was in the car the other day, and I was listening to the radio. And the announcer came on and said, "Who do you think is the life of the party?" And I'm thinking the karaoke guy or gal, the person who can tell the best jokes. Now imagine yourself, you're at this party. Close your eyes for a second. Just think about this. You're at the party. People are coming up to you and asking you questions because they just found out you're a CPA. So what's the new standard deduction? And you start talking. And then the person next to that person hears you're starting talking and helping this person with some tax things, right? And then before you know it, open your eyes, you got like 5, 6 people all around you. And the radio announcer said, the CPA is now the life of the party. Because there's been so many tax law changes now, everybody is confused about their own tax situation. Do I deduct my interest? Do I deduct my car expenses? If I gave you all my credit card receipts, can you tell me if my wife is cheating on me or not? So you are now the life of the party, the CPA. Who would have ever thought that, right? I know back in my life, I used to be the shy, introverted person that basically had all the pencils in my shirt, right? And I was a typical accountant. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you another personal story. When I told my wife I was going to go into sales, she looked at me and goes, "Are we going to starve?" Because I used to be that shy guy. But I made the transition from the CPA to the sales guy. Now, I'm not telling every one of you that you're going to become a sales guy or girl, but I'm going to teach you from how to sell within the CPA firm. So what I would like you to do, also one other thing, is focus on process. I don't have time to go through all 9 boxes here, but each one of these boxes, honestly, could be a session and a class on its own. But think about process. You have a process today to do your tax work. Tax return comes in the door. You know every step that's going to go through your office. You've diagrammed it, you've laid it out. You know exactly what you have to do to get it out the door or get it into your client's portal. What you don't have today is that sales process. And that's what I'm going to provide to you. So having that sales process is how you get to go from bad to great. That's what the key is, because you want to have that great process. So now you have a choice. You basically have 3 choices. You can continue to go it alone and struggle and think you can fix it. Or you can be like my friend Charlie. Charlie basically took my 9 box and took my great and said, "Hey, I can do this on my own. You just gave me what I needed." 6 months later, Charlie calls me and goes, "It didn't work." Well, the reason it didn't work, Charlie, is because you really don't understand what it takes to, from a sales perspective, to implement the great or the 9 box. That's why you need to hire me. So that's what Charlie found out the hard way. So the third option you have right now is to help your balance sheet increase that cash account, increase that net profit on your income statement by calling me. My number is there, my email is there, but just like you have a limited number of capacity, and I have limited number of capacity because this is a commitment that we both have to take on. So I can't always take every single client that calls. So if you don't call soon, get me on the phone for this consultation, I could be working with your client or the competition instead of yourself, because it is a very competitive marketplace. So I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening, and I will speak to you soon. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.